This is the Lemon Learners camp that we're doing. This is the first camp that we've actually done as a part of the Lemon Project, where we're here at Blair Middle School in Williamsburg, working with 15 students who are interested in family history and genealogy. Well, it's a passion that is not only, it's a passion, but it's also my profession. But what really drives me is to see them really connect with the lessons, not just the lessons, but also learning more about, like I said, their community and themselves.
None of us live in a vacuum. We don't exist in a vacuum, and it's important to understand, who you come from, and how you come to be here. Sometimes we find out that we come from people who, not that they were necessarily famous, but they're inspirational. They overcame obstacles and did well in life, and I think sometimes that can inspire you. One of the students found her grandfather's draft card for World War II. This is gonna sound so nerdy. That's the joy of it, right? Those moments when you find something you had no idea you would find.
Finding that relative that they knew nothing about, or finding more about this particular person, interacting with historical documents and seeing firsthand, this is a document that was created nearly a century ago. So much has changed technologically, and that these records were once hidden in dark spaces, but now I can readily type on a keyboard with a simple search. There they are.
So they give a chart, and you can put, you give their first and middle name in one box, and then in the second box you put your last name. For example, if I were to look at my grandma, I would put, for my children, my mom's, because my mom's my grandma's kid, and you can put their spouse or their or their birthday, and they would give a whole chart based on their list and how many people matched your info. Every speaker, that first day we had biology professor, Dr. Hinton, and her students came to teach them how to extract DNA from strawberries, and they really got into that, but they really got into the lab coats, and so just seeing their faces and seeing them, talking and being excited about what they're doing.
The focus of today was who am I, as well as who is my family. And so I encourage them to kind of, do some introspection in terms of who am I in relationship to my community, who am I in relationship to my family. Hoping that they'll see that they're connected in terms of our ancestors and those who have come before us, that we often have more in common with them than we think, and that we know.
To what I knew, I just knew my dad and my mom, they were born in Hawaii or the Philippines. The part that I learned and didn't really realize was that my great-grandparents, I didn't realize that everyone was almost born in the Philippines on my mom's side. So quite literally, when I asked, my dad would say, the motherland's the Philippines. I didn't realize that quite literally we are from the motherlands of Philippines. We be asking each other about our past and kind of learning about each other's. I know it kind of sounds cliche, but I actually kind of enjoyed saying my friend Ella. She sometimes told me about her her past and her grandparents and great-grandparents, and I actually kind of really enjoy learning about other people's histories.
Our family was, I found the middle name of, I believe, my great-grandmother, and it has been lost, so I just found it. On my maternal side, my great-grandparents came from Poland, and I actually found their naturalization papers doing research.
I think that I can take what I've learned here and pass it down, as in applying it, passing it down and sharing it, so even if ancestry doesn't go as far back as we want, we still have the oral stories to tell. This week, like, I learned a lot about where I came from, and for me, I kind of like learned where I got, like, you know, that work ethic ability, because they were all really hard workers, worked all the time, and supported their family a lot. So I feel like I found where I got that from.
I learned that I go back many generations, and that there's a lot of people that are like related to me that I didn't even know about. I learned about my mom's father's parents, and also learned about my great-great-grandma. That she was somebody that was very comforting to people. She was somebody that you could talk to if you needed to get your mind off of things.
Oh, the ages of the students, these are middle school students. Many of them are transitioning to high school. So they're 7th graders, 8th graders who are also actually entering the 9th grade. These are also methods, and these are things that can be applied to their academics. In the high school, I think it's going to strengthen their research skills. I think it's going to strengthen their critical thinking skills. Those are things that they'll be able to take away. I think it's going to cause them to ask deeper questions of documents, deeper questions about themselves, their environment, people, and their critical analysis of history. And so hopefully those are skills that they're developing that they can use beyond this camp.